Hi and welcome to Hedgehog Hollow. I'm so excited to be back with Sunday stamping at Elizabeth Craft Designs. This month I've chosen one of their gorgeous new doodle background stamps, and I'm going to be colouring it in and adding amazing details using the new Nuvo release from Tonic from their Trends range. We have lots of shades of blues and creams in there, and I'm going to show you how to make a monochromatic card that really pops. So I have lots to share with you, so let's get started. I'm so excited to be back with Elizabeth Craft for Sunday stamping. So we'll be here once a month on a Sunday to give you some inspiration. And today I'm working with one of their newer releases, the Floral Background clear stamp. So it is a photopolymer stamp, but as soon as I saw this, I saw huge potential of different things you could do, different colour schemes, different mediums, all sorts of different ideas, the decoupage style where you could lift elements and really make it 3D. You could fussy cut them or use your scan and cut to cut them out. Lots and lots of options there for you. I'm actually going to be working in a monochrome card. I did a card I called Study in Blue for Honeybee last year, and it was different shades of blue, and I absolutely loved it, and I had a huge response from all of you from it. So I'm going to be doing something similar. I'm actually using one of the newer Tonic releases. So every quarter they're doing a Trends release with different colour schemes. This is the April one, which is Ocean. So all different shades of blue and sort of like some creamy colours as well. Beautiful colour shades in there. I'm going to be doing that with this stamp set as well. Now for using the Aqua pens to colour in, I'm going to be using the Essentials by Ellen. It's a new range for her. It's cardstock. So this is actually called the Oyster Grey. It's a lovely weight. It's 100 pounds in weight, and it really does take the water nicely. It has a light coating on it. It has a mild sheen. I did try doing it with the Elizabeth Craft, but did find it took a lot of time for the Aquaflow to soak in. But the Elizabeth Craft white cardstock is amazing with the distress oxides. So many different things you can do it. I'm sure you've seen videos where I've used that before. So I'm going to be using my Tim Holtz platform here. This is the original size, so this is the 8.5 inch square one, just because this is a little bit larger. So it's a 6-inch square stamp, and I'm just going to grab a couple of my magnets to hold this down. My new glitter duct tape on some of my newer magnets, like so. I do tend to go a little magnet overboard. I just have a stack of them over there that I pick up, so when I get more with a stamp set, I just add those on. So I'm just peeling this backing piece off of the stamp. These really do cling well. So I'm just going to place this, and I'm going to give it a little bit of border around the edge. So that just gives you options when it comes to cutting it out. You can choose how you want to do that. So I'm going to pick this up. And I'm using the Nuvo Hybrid ink. So Hybrid ink, I did do a video which I'll link in that top right hand corner, just up here. Hybrid ink is amazing because you can use water-based and alcohol-based mediums to colour in. And if you want to mix your watercolours with your Copics, you can do that with a hybrid ink pad. You can't do that with any other type of ink pad. So let's stamp these out. So I do just give it a press all over. There's lots and lots of little details in this stamp set that I want to pick up. I'm going to do it one more time. So hybrid inks these days come in every single colour. I have them from all different companies. I do have some favourites. I think there are some that work better than others. I love the My Favourite Things, I love the Nuvo and the LDRS ones as well. But take a look at that video as to some of the amazing things you can do with hybrid inks. So if you find an area is not coming out as well, you can just, if you're using a stamp platform, you can overstamp as many times as you like. You can also work with different colours and different shades and things. I'm just going to pick this up and pop it back on its sheet. So I always keep my stamps on their backing sheets, and I will clean that after the video. So now we'll take our cardstock out. The one thing I do with hybrid inks is make sure they're thoroughly dry before I start adding any mediums. So you can either heat set, or if you don't have an embossing heat tool, then you can just leave them to dry. Depends where you live as to how quickly they'll dry. Up in Ohio, we have quite moist air, so it takes a bit longer. Sometimes I'll stamp things before I go to bed. But if you just have a heat tool, I'm just using the Ranger heated tool, not even my main embossing tool, just to give it a little bit of a dry. If you're down south, when I was at Phoenix for Creativation, we were stamping things out and they were drying almost instantly. So it just depends on the humidity of where you live. A really good test is if you put a piece of printer paper over the top, really give your image a rub and then peel it back, you'll know whether it's dry or not. So I can do things like this and it's not going anywhere. Nothing on my hand, there's no smudges. So I'm working with True Turquoise, Vanilla Sundae and Clear Water. So these are the three new Aqua pens that come in a set together from Tonic. So when you get an Aqua pen, it will actually have a safety catch in here. You'll have a little yellow piece. The first thing you want to do is unscrew that. You'll take that yellow piece out, screw it back together, and you'll feel it click in. And then just give it a light squeeze until the ink comes through, and then you can start colouring. So again, you can just start filling in. So your colour's going to come straight through. These are a watercolour, basically liquid watercolour, already loaded into your pen, and super easy to work with. So you want to then go all over your image in different tones and different colours. I'm just going to colour a couple of these in and I'll show you one that I've done. You can also go over the top of this colour with one of your shimmer pens as well, the Aqua shimmers. That's another option you have in there as well. So that's the lighter blue. This is the darker blue. You can see there how nicely they coordinate together. And it's a lovely fine brush tip on there, so you can get into all those small detailed places. I'm going to do the centre of my flower here with that. And then you have this gorgeous vanilla colour. These colours really remind me of, particularly the beigey colours, they remind me of having a cup of tea. I think one of them is called Creme Brulee, one of the Nuvo drops that matches that we're going to be using for our details. So you can see there how quick and easy this is, no mess. You don't have to wash out any palettes, you don't have to get your paintbrushes out. You just start colouring in. You can also then take colours, you can layer with these, so over the top you could add some lighter details like this. You can see here. How gorgeous they look, and you could even then add another layer with the darker one. This. So you've got kind of all three colours layering through there and fading out. Absolutely beautiful how the effects that you can get with these aqua pens. You can also just squeeze them out. This is the Tim Holtz mat I'm working on. You could put them in your palette area, mix colours together, add shimmer into them, all sorts of different things you can do. And then I'm going to add some extra details using these new colours. So you have crystal drops in caramel cream, you have glitter drops in Gold Coast, you have glitter accents, so these are even more shimmery, and that's in Atlantic Drift. And then you have another crystal drops, which comes in Blue Babe. And so I'm going to go, the sample I'll show you in a second, I went all over and added some great details. So for instance, here I'm going to add these dots here. And these glitter accents, this particular one, the glitter drops rather, are sort of translucent. So you really add that depth and the texture. You can also do larger areas, so you could fill in like this. So I do have a few tips to share using Nuvo drops, whether it's the glitter accents, the glitter drops, or the crystal drops. So the first thing I do, I primed these before I did the video, but you may find that the first time you get them out after using them, maybe for a day or two, or even just the first time out of the packet, you want to pipe it either onto some scrap paper, or I just do it on the back of my hand, just to make sure I'm going to get that nice thin line. You'll find that sometimes they just have that little bit of air in them if they haven't been used recently, and that will splutter, and of course that will go all over your work, so you don't want that to happen. So once you've done that part, you're then going to keep your nozzle just a little bit above your area there, and you're going to squeeze until it fills up, and then you're going to flick out like that. So think of it as though you're icing a cake. If you've ever done sort of one of the Wilton classes or icing, you kind of squeeze till you've got the size you want, and you can go as large as you want. So I can just keep squeezing and squeezing, and this is just going to get bigger and bigger. So you can see there I'm creating almost a pearl in the center of my flower there. Now, the larger the drops, the longer they will take to dry. So again, you may want to leave them overnight or just for a couple of hours to dry. And you can see, normally I actually put a dot. These are brand new, so I haven't had a chance yet, but I get a craft sheet and then I put a dot of this color on there, and then I use a glue dot and stick it to the lid. So I know exactly the color that I'm going to be getting. So again, squeeze onto your hand, make sure you've got even flow, then stay above and flick. If you put your nozzle on the surface, you're not going to get the nice round shape. Now, if you do end up getting some larger flicks and you don't want those little turrets on there, I actually had a tip from a viewer which works perfectly. I tried it out, and just lift your cardstock up and give it a little tap underneath, and it just evens out those drops, and that works absolutely perfectly. So thank you for the tip. We always love hearing your tips and tricks, and we'll always try and share as many of them as we can. So you want to go all over, add your colour, add your Nuvo drops. When you've done that, your piece will look something like this. So here I've added the glitter along the veins of the leaves. I've added just a few of the berries here and there. I've added centres to my flowers and all of those little doodle details in this one. So when I kind of put my finger across, it's got lots and lots of texture. And in the blog post over on thehedgehoghollow.com, and of course on the Elizabeth Craft blog as well, we will have some really close-up pictures to try and capture all those details. I also added those centres in like I showed you, and also a little bit on the tips just to give them some dimension. So I absolutely love how that came out. I'm just grabbing a piece of kitchen towel to clean off my hand, and I'm going to show you how I mounted this card up. So let's move these to the side. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I just want to add a little bit more blue around the edge. So this is another Nuvo ink. This is the Empire Blue, and all I'm going to do is just very gently catch the edge of my cardstock. and I trimmed this piece down to just a smidge over 5 1/4 inches square. So I just corners I tend to like to catch a little bit more. If you have a lighter piece of cardstock and then you're going to layer it and you find it doesn't just pop enough, just that little bit of ink along the edge will lead your eye into thinking there's an extra layer in there. We're also going to be using some of the blue soft finish cardstock from Elizabeth Craft. This is out the Victorian set. And first of all, I'm going to mount this onto there. And I want to make this piece a really thin matting layer. So quite often, rather than having to measure and work out all of those, if I just want a thin piece, I tend to do it a little bit more by eye. So I line up as many sides as I can. So in this case, I'm going to line up this side along here and this side along here. And I'm going to grab my trimmer. And this is the new mini guillotine from Tim Holtz and Tonic. And you can actually cut really big pieces. You can cut up to 8.5 by 11 with this, which is quite surprising for something so small. So it's a really nice compact trimmer that allows you to do that. So again, I'm now cutting my third side and I'm going to cut my fourth side here. I'm just lining up so it's nice and slim. Smidgen out there. So I wanted it to be a really thin piece, so it almost just leads your eye into thinking there's an extra layer on there. And then we're going to pop it on to this gorgeous satin gold cardstock. So we're going to end up with a 6x6 card. So you can see there how gorgeous that looks, and just that little thin piece of that deep blue just looks perfect on there. Now I have my card base here, so I took the rest of that piece that we'd use. So this is 6 inches wide and it's 12 inches across. The sheets come in 12 by 12. And we're going to be making our card base. So I'm just going to grab my little score pal and we'll score this. Now, a reason I love using these coloured cardstocks from Elizabeth Craft for my card bases are these beautiful colours on this side. It's a lovely weight. It also has that soft dimpled finish, which is gorgeous, but the reverse is white. So it's perfect for the inside of your card because, of course, you can write in it. So I'm going to pop this onto my score body here. Also scores your little handy dandy tool at the top here. And I'm going to go at 6 inches. So when I score my bases, I score one side like this, and then I turn it over and I score the other side. I find that this way I get the least cracking and I just get a really nice crisp line, like so. I'll fold this over. Like so. And now we're going to mount up our piece. So you could, of course, pop it on like this, or whichever way round you wanted it to be. Another really pretty way would be to mount it like this. And that's how I'm going to do mine today. And to do that, I pop it centered like this, so I know that this is how I want it to be. And I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to make sure it's a little bit more even. And I'm going to pop some pencil marks on here. So I'm just drawing round the outline of my card, trying to keep it in the same place. And what I'm also going to do is just pop a little arrow, so that tells me that I want that on one of those edges, so one of my cut edges. And then I'm going to grab my guillotine again. This time I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to line this up. Now you actually want to line your pencil line a little bit, just like a smidge, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch over this metal piece here. And if you look down the metal piece, so I'm obviously sitting behind it, I can look down and see that I've got a nice even cut. And even with all these layers, I can cut through. Press that down. Trying to avoid my fingers, of course, as well. There we go. So that's one of them done. So I'm cutting through all those Nuvo drops, hence it's a little bit stiff, but these guillotines are super sharp, so they are going to work for you. So again, I'm going to line this up. Remember to keep your fingers out the way. If you saw Tin's video that we did from CHA, it's a choice to put your fingers in there. You're also going to want to keep some fingers on this guide here. That keeps your cardstock nice and flat and secure. Again. There we go. Trimmed all our pieces down nice and evenly. I'm going to pop this to the side again. And I'm going to grab my foam tape. So let's find that arrow. So we know that we want one of those on there. So you can see how perfectly that then lines up. And I just kind of gave it that tap, and that meant that it fitted on there perfectly. So you can either do it flat, or I'm going to add some dimension to this. I'm going to add some of my foam tape on the back here. Non-stick scissors. So of course we can add foam anywhere because this lines up perfectly. There's no bits sticking out of our card. And we'll put those in there. So again, just peel the backing off your foam. And I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to pick this up, I'm going to pop this up. My arrow's here, so I decided that was down to the bottom. And I'm going to line the two up while they're standing up and then press them down. Now I'm actually going to leave this sentiment free because very often I just want a note to say. I pop some of these in the Hedgehog Hollow monthly box for people. So I like to just be able to add a sentiment, and I have a little baggie that I have full of die cuts of words and sentiments that I haven't used on cards. I've made them and then decided not to use them. So I just pop those on when I'm ready to send it out. It makes it super quick and simple. But I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. I've really had fun making it and showing you how to do this. As I say, I'm so excited to be back with Elizabeth Craft for our Sunday stamping once a month. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button or stamp it if you prefer, so that you get regular updates and can see all of our Elizabeth Craft and other crafting tutorials. And do give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. All the links are in the description below, and of course they're on the Elizabeth Craft blog as well. So do check those out too. And we'll see you again very soon. Happy stamping. Bye.